By 6 o'clock this morning, before the sun had cleared the top of the barn, I walked through every room in this house and shut the windows, the same windows I had thrown wide open at midnight. I pulled the shades down on the east side too, while the glass was still cool to the touch. The radio man says it will reach 92 degrees in the yard this afternoon. Inside these plain walls, it will sit in the low 70s until it is time to start supper, and I will not pay a single cent nor plug in one thing to keep it that way. There is no machine in any window of this house. There never has been. Most folks do the exact opposite of what I did this morning, and they do it meaning well. The heat starts to climb, so they throw the windows open to catch a breeze. But all they catch is the hot air rolling off the road and the sun pouring straight in across the floor. And by noon, the inside of their house is warmer than the shade of the trees standing outside it. Then the box in the window runs and runs, all afternoon trying to undo what the open windows let in. And come July, the electric bill lands on the kitchen table, heavy as the second rent. So today I'm going to show you how we keep a house a good deal cooler than the yard, with no air conditioner, no electric, and next to no money, a small handful of plain habits my people have leaned on for as long as anyone can remember. And the very first of them is already finished by 6 in the morning, before most folks have poured their coffee. My name is Miriam Fisher. I have lived here in Lancaster County the whole of my 65 years, and I have never in my life owned an air conditioner, not in this house where I raised my own children, and not in the house where my mother raised me. We carried our family through every hot Pennsylvania summer you can name with thick walls, with windows open and shut at the right hours, and with a cool cellar. We thank the Lord for more than once. What I am about to tell you did not come out of any book or any manual. It came from doing it, one summer after another, the way my mother taught me standing in her own kitchen, and the way her mother taught her before that. So stay with me a while, because there are a few things here worth waiting for. There is one habit that nearly every person outside our way of living gets exactly backward, and once you see it plain, you will not be able to unsee it. There is the coolest room in this whole house, and I will wager it is not the one you are picturing. And near the end, I am going to tell you honest about the one kind of night when all of this stops working, near as well, because I would far rather earn your trust than sell you a pretty story that falls to pieces in a heat wave. None of what I am telling you is a secret, and none of it is clever. It is only that the machine made every bit of it easy to forget. When cold air comes sliding out of a box at the push of one button, a family quits closing the house up in the morning. The shade tree never gets planted. Nobody walks down to the cellar in the heat of the afternoon the way their grandparents once did, without a second thought. One generation set these habits down, and the generation that came after never picked them back up, because there was no one left to show them how, and there is no money in teaching a person how to open a window at the right hour, so no one sells it, and so no one hears it. Well, I will tell it to you for nothing. Here is the first habit, and it is the one that does the most work of all of them. You close the house up early in the morning, before the heat of the day has any chance to get inside. The windows, the shades, the curtains, you shut them all, while the air indoors is still holding the cool it gathered through the night. In this house, I do that at about 6 o'clock, when I make my slow round, with a cup of coffee in my hand. Now hear me close on this. 6 on the clock is not some magic number. The real rule is far simpler than any clock, and it is this: you close the house up the very moment the air outside turns warmer than the air already inside. On a summer morning, that turn comes right around sunup. Before that moment, the cool outdoors is doing you a kindness, and you leave the windows open to take all of it you can. After that moment, every open window is a door you are holding wide for the heat to walk straight through. So you learn to catch it right at the turn, and you shut the day out before it starts. And why should closing a house up keep it cool inside? Because these old walls and these wide floorboards are heavy, and heavy things hold on to their temperature a good long while. All through the night, the cool has settled deep down into the plaster and the old wood, And if you trap that coolness inside by closing up before the dawn, the walls hand it back to you slowly, hour by hour, right through the hottest part of the day. On a house built as solid as this one, that single habit can hold the rooms a few degrees cooler through the afternoon, 2, 3, 4, even 5 degrees under what they would read if you had left the place standing open to the heat. My mother made this round every single morning of her life, coffee in her hand, quiet as a Sunday, and I am a little ashamed to say I never once thought to ask her why, until I had a house of my own to keep. The second habit is the other half of the first one, and you do it clear at the far end of the day. Once the sun has gone all the way down and the outside air has finally cooled below the air trapped inside, you open the whole house right back up, and I do mean wide. You want windows standing open on both sides of the house, the front and the back, the low side and the high side, so the cool night air runs in one side and straight out the other and carries the day's leftover heat along with it. The old people had a plain name for this. They said you were letting the house breathe. And that is just exactly what it does. All night long, it breathes the cool air in and pushes the stale warm air out. And while it does that, it charges those heavy walls and floors back up full of coolness, storing it away against the morning to come. Then at 6, before the turn, you shut it all in again, to keep. Open through the night, closed through the day, that is the whole rhythm of the thing, and you will notice straight away it runs exactly backward from what most folks do, which is to shut up tight at night when they sleep and fling everything open by day when the heat is at its worst. Get the rhythm the right way round, and the house works for you clear around the clock, on nothing at all but the turning of the cool and the warm. Now, I made you a promise a moment ago, so here comes the honest part, the part a person trying to sell you something would leave clean out. This whole night business only works about as well as your nights are cool and dry, on a night when the air stays warm and thick and heavy with damp. And heaven knows we get our share of those here in Pennsylvania come August. Throwing the windows open will not buy you much of anything at all. Warm, damp air simply cannot carry the heat away the way cool, dry air does, for there is no coolness left in it to give you. I have opened this house wide at 10 o'clock on a muggy night in the middle of a heat wave and felt hardly a breath of difference by the time I came back down at dawn, so I will not stand here and promise you this one habit will save you on the very worst nights, because it plainly will not. When the nights stay sticky, you lean the harder on the other habits, on your shade and on the cool rooms down low, and you let the night rhythm do only what it can that evening. And I will say one more thing straight out, because I care a good deal more about you than I do about any of this working perfectly. These old ways make a hot summer gentler to live through. They do not make a truly dangerous heat safe. If a real killing heat wave comes and settles in over you, and you are up in years, or you are ailing, or you have got little babies in the house, please do not tough it out just to prove a point to anybody. Go and get yourselves to real cooling, to a neighbor's place, to the library in town, to a cooling center. Knowing exactly where a good thing stops being enough is worth every bit as much as knowing that it works at all. The fourth habit is the one that quietly carries more of the load than any other, and the beauty of it is that you plant it just once, and it pays you back for 50 years without ever asking another thing of you. Shade, a good tree standing in the right spot off the south and the west side of a house catches the sun and stops it before it can ever strike your walls and your windows and turn into heat you have to fight indoors. And do not go thinking this is some small matter. The people who measure such things for a living, the United States Department of Energy among them, have found that shading a house well can cut the whole work of cooling it by anywhere from 1/10 of it to fully half. And that one good tree set in just the right place has been measured saving close to 1/3 of a home's cooling, all on its own. You do not need any study to feel that one either. Walk on out and stand under a big shade tree on a blistering afternoon, and then step back into the open sun, and you will feel it with your own skin. The air under those leaves sits a good few degrees cooler than the air out in the bare light. My own grandfather planted the 2 big maples that stand off the west side of this house before my father was so much as born. He never once sat in the best of that shade himself. He was long gone before those trees came into their full spread. He planted them for us, for the grandchildren he knew he would never live to meet. That is the way our people are raised to think about a tree. The 5th habit costs you nothing at all because it puts to work something you already have going in your favor, and that is the plain fact that hot air rises. Heat is forever wanting to climb, so the whole trick is to give it a clear way out up at the very top of the house. We open the upstairs windows and the little attic vents so that all the hottest air, which is floated up to gather near the ceilings, spills up and out, and as it pours out the top, it draws cooler air up behind it from the shaded low side of the house to take its place. A house with tall ceilings and a window set up high is built to do just this all on its own, if only you will open the right things and step back and let it. And when you set your windows open, set them on walls across from one another, rather than side by side, so the moving air draws in a straight, clean line right through the room instead of curling up and dying off in one corner. You are not making one lick of cold air when you do this. You are only taking the heat you already have and showing it the door out the top of the house. The 6th habit is about the smallest thing on this whole list to actually do, and yet it is one of the very biggest in what it will save you. You keep the sun itself off your glass through the worst hours of the day. Understand plainly what a bare, sunlit window really is on a summer afternoon. It is a little open oven door. The light comes pouring straight in through the clear glass, and the very moment it lands on your floor and your furniture, it turns into heat, right there inside the room. And no breeze under heaven will undo heat that is already indoors. So on the sunny side of the house, all through the hottest stretch of the day, you draw the shades down, and you pull the curtains too, and you swing the shutters closed if you are blessed enough to have them. Better still than any of that is shade thrown on the outside of the glass before the sun ever reaches it. An awning, the roof of a porch, a leafy branch hung just so, because once that sunlight has already come through the pane, the heat is in and the battle is halfway lost. It is the very reason we built the deep porches that run clear across the front of this house. They keep the high summer sun off the windows the whole day long, and they hand us a cool, shaded place to sit and shell a bowl of peas into the bargain. The 7th habit is where we go when the day has beaten everything else we have thrown against it, and the direction, plain and simple, is down. The cellar underneath this house stays cool no matter what wild number the thermometer climbs to up in the yard, and the reason for it is simple. A few good feet of solid earth all around it holds a steady, patient coolness that the sun up above never manages to reach. A decent cellar or a decent basement will generally sit somewhere around 10 to 20 degrees cooler than the outdoor air on a hot day. But I want to be honest with you about that number because it is an easy one to hear wrong. That 10 to 20 degrees is the cellar down in the ground, and it is not your whole house. Your parlor up on the main floor is never going to hold a full 20 degrees under the yard, and anybody who tells you it will is selling you something. But on the very worst afternoons of the year, that cool cellar is just exactly where we carry our mending and our resting, and it does not cost us 1 red cent to sit down in it. And here is a close companion to that habit, one that keeps the heat from ever building up in the first place. We do our hot summer cooking and our canning well away from the rooms we actually live in. A great many of our families keep what we call a summer kitchen for that very purpose, a separate little cook room set apart because a stove or a canner running full and hot in the middle of July will warm your whole house faster than the afternoon sun outside ever could. If you have got to make heat to feed your family, then make it somewhere you are not also trying to sit and rest. The eighth and last habit is a small and human comfort that makes every other thing on this list feel better than it already does. And it is only this: you keep the air moving. Still, dead air always feels hotter than it truly is, and moving air always feels a fair bit cooler than it truly is, even when the number up on the wall has not shifted by so much as a single degree. We are not a people set against a fan, whatever you may have been told. A good many of our families run one off a battery, or off a puff of compressed air, or off a bit of propane, just to stir up a breeze on a close and heavy evening when nothing else in the world will move. A little moving air passing over your skin as you sit out on the porch at dusk will do more for how cool you truly feel than shaving another whole degree off the thermometer ever could. It does not cool the room one bit, it cools the person sitting in it. Now put all of these together, one laid careful atop another, and what you are left holding is a house that stays a good deal cooler than the yard from the first real heat of June, clear on through to September, and a whole summer that comes and goes without $1 of cooling bill ever landing on your kitchen table. That is real money kept home in your own family's pocket, the very same few $100s your neighbor hands over to the power company every single summer, staying with you instead, year upon year upon year. But you know, it was never only about the money for us. It is the money kept. It is the quiet of a house, with no motor, grinding away in the window, night and day. It is the old skill kept alive in the family and handed down whole to the next pair of hands, instead of being set down and forgotten like so much else has been. My mother handed all of this to me at 6 o'clock in the morning, with a cup of coffee between us, and not a great many words, and it is a plain sort of inheritance to leave a child, but I have been grateful for it every hot summer of my life. So here is what I would truly like you to try this coming week, and not one bit of it is hard. Tomorrow morning, before the day has any real heat in it yet, go and close your windows and pull the shades on the sunny side of the house, and mind the turn. That moment, the air outside creeps up warmer than the air inside, for that is your one signal. Then after the sun is good and down, open the whole house up on both sides and let it breathe the cool night clear through till dawn. Draw your shades against the hard afternoon sun. When the day is at its very worst, take yourself down to the coolest low room you have got. And come this fall, plant one shade tree off the south or the west side of your home for the summers your grandchildren are going to live through. Not every one of these will earn its keep every day where you happen to live. Your own weather is going to decide that much. But laid all together, they will carry you and yours through the better part of most any summer that comes. And I would dearly love to know how it goes for you, because so much of this leans on your own weather, and no two places are ever quite alike. So tell me down below where it is you live and what your porch thermometer reads this very afternoon. And here is the one question that matters more than all the rest, so do not go skipping past it. Do your nights cool down and go dry on you, or do they stay warm and muggy? That one single answer will tell me straight away which of these habits are going to carry you through, and which ones are apt to leave you wanting on the worst of the nights. I read every last comment you take the time to leave me. I truly do read them, every single one. And the next time we sit down together, I am going to show you how we keep our milk and our butter and a good week's worth of food cold clear through the dog days of August with no icebox and no electric of any kind, because there is a cool corner tucked away in this old house that I have not shown you yet. And it has kept this family's food since before my grandmother was a girl. Until then, keep your windows shut up tight against the noon sun and thrown wide to the cool of the night, and keep your own selves cool the plain old way. I am glad you came and sat here with me a while this morning. Go on now and take good care of one another.